Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just open Eclipse. You can enter as 930, yeah. And David, you can follow me the first part so you know how to open your first project, okay? Do you have it on your desktop? Nope. Oh, there. Okay. So in order to open a program, remember that we have to go to File, then New, Java Project. Okay? And I'll wait for you there.
What is the name of the project?
Today we're going to just write, the project's going to be called Syntax or Semantics. I think it's better if we call it Syntax. Project name, Syntax. Okay. We call it Syntax. Okay. When we're done, we're going to have a folder with syntax, and we are going to create our new class. So click on the icon where it says New Java Class. Make sure you have the public static void main checked. Okay. There's a C. There's like an icon with a C. Okay. And make sure that public static void main is activated, because that's going to be our main class, and the name is going to be syntax. Okay, it's called syntax on the name field. Okay, we click on finish, and we will have our first and main program. Okay, so we have public class syntax and public static void main. Now here we are going to write all of our code inside these two keys. Okay, in this place over here. That's where we write our code. That it's our main program. Ready? Okay, so in Java we have different element types. Okay. We have arithmetic operators, we have assignment operators, and we have numeric literals, programmer-defined variable names that are basically the variables that we used before, like Fahrenheit or Celsius. Those are variables that we can assign a number, okay, or information. Now, numeric literals are just the numbers. Sometimes, in some programs, we are going to use constants. And those constants have to be declared as literals. Okay, but we will see that in a minute. Okay? So there are two types of numbers. I mean, there are more, but the ones that we use the most are integers and doubles. So how do we create or instantiate a variable with an integer number? We say int a. Okay.
We don't have to import
int a, not yet. We don't have to import any class yet. I'll tell you when to import it. So int a would be a variable of the type integer. Double b will be a double type. Now if I want to create more than one, I can say int D, E, F, okay? I can separate them with comma. Okay? Int D, E, F. Let me magnify this for you. Okay? So we have int def, and those are all variables. Okay? they all can be floating points. All those doubles can be floating points. The problem is, and let me explain. If I assign, remember that here I'm assigning. If I assign 2.13 to this number, look what it will happen. Look what it says. Type mismatch, cannot convert from double to int. A is an integer type, and I'm assigning what? A decimal, okay? But what if I say B, and I assign that variable? It's perfect, okay?
Here you go.
So in this case, to A, I have to assign an integer number. To B, I can assign a decimal number.
But if you assign
An integer to a double? Well, as a matter of fact, if you go to the decimal numbers, all integers are decimal numbers.
so it's okay.
Exactly. So if I say B, being a double, and I assign it an integer number, there's no problem. Because, remember that in your number line, all the integers are part of the real numbers.
So
Okay?
why would you want to use integers if you can just use doubles and
Because sometimes you want an integer number. Like when you're counting.
so
Like for loops.
you can use a double variable and assign.
Here's the thing. When you want to increase a number, because you want to count, let's say you want to make a loop of 100 iterations. Okay? So 100 times is going to be repeated the same task. If you create a double and repeat that 100 times, okay, it can be repeated 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, or 1, 1.01, 1.02. As an integer number, you are making sure that 1 goes to 2, goes to 3, goes to 4, okay? That's why you use integer numbers sometimes. Another thing, we're going to look at the random class, and the random class can give you numbers between 1 and whatever number you want, or 0 and whatever number you want, and doubles. So he can give you integers or he can give you doubles, okay? So that's how we assign, okay? And that's how we use those types. Part of the homework was to know from what range are those numbers, okay? So an integer has 4 bytes, and those 4 bytes go from minus 2,000 million, around 2,000 million to 2,000 million. And double has, minus 1.79 times 10 to the power of 308 to 1.79 to the power of 308. So that is a lot. It's huge, but it's finite. There's a time where the computer can crash if it goes further, okay? And when we solve the Tower of Hanoi, you will know that after 64 disks, the computer will crash when he's trying to solve the Tower of Hanoi. Have you guys done it before? The Tower of Hanoi, the one that is like 3 disks. Have you seen that?
Yeah, that are like 3 sticks.
Yeah, Okay, we were talking about variable declaration. Okay, we're talking about variable declaration. Look what it says here. The value of the local variable is not used. I'm not using A yet. I'm just declarating those variables. Okay, here I create them. I assign either an integer or a double. Here I'm assigning a number to that variable, but I'm still not using it until I say B equal A plus B. Now I'm using it. You see, all these things change because now these variables are being used with an operation. Okay?
Significa como es posible que le es igual a una de
Yeah. And you're going to do it all the time. I'm just overriding a variable. Sometimes the result is going to be something plus the result.
O sea, lo que hicimos fue en la primera parte decir qué tipo de
Variable we're using.
variable era, después le asignamos los valores y luego estamos explicando.
And then we operate it. Exactly, we use it. That's exactly what we do. We create or instantiate the variables, and then we operate. Yeah, David.
What if you're ahead in your code, like really far in your code, and you want to change the variable sign? Can you change it anytime?
Yes, you can change the. But why would you want to do that? Okay, but there's something called casting, and I don't know if you read it in the book. Casting, and did you guys understand what was casting?
Yes.
Well, casting is kind of like camouflaging a variable while you use it for something else. So I can camouflage it into a double while I operate it and then make it an integer again. So that's what's casting. And I would use it in some cases when I need to use doubles and I have an integer number, okay? Or operations between integers. For example, if I would want to assign something to A and I need to operate A plus B, okay? Here I'm going to have a problem because at the end I need an integer inside here. So what I'll do is that I can cast the double. You can cast a double is camouflage a variable while you can operate it. So B is a double, so I will cast it. Okay? I cast it as an integer while I can operate it. And now the operation is possible.
How will it convert to an integer? Like, how is that?
Sí, es por eso.
No, he will truncate. So if B is 2.13, he will cast it into 2 while he operates it with A.
So it's round.
It kind of like, it truncates. It's not rounding. It truncates. Because if you have 2.65, it will still give you a 2.
You have 2.9999.
It will give you a 2.
Ah.
So that's truncating. Can you cast an integer into a double? You don't need to, because an integer is a double. It's just a double with 0 decimals. Okay? No, what I'm telling you is that sometimes I need to use B. Let's say you need to use B, and you want to add A plus B. You see, there's an error there. There's an error because this is a double and this is an integer, and I'm putting that result into what? An integer. So I would want to camouflage or just cast this double while I operate it. I'm not turning it into a double. I'm not turning it into an integer. I'm just casting it.
Just for that.
Just for that operation. Okay? It helps a lot. You will see some programs that it helps a lot to camouflage those integers and doubles. Okay. Another type of variable that we are going to use are strings. So we can create a string called name. Okay? Now strings are very special. Strings are not primitive data types. Okay? They're not variables as integers or doubles. They're considered as objects. Okay? Because an integer, a string is just a sequence or a string of characters. So there are many things inside a string. When I say system.out.println, okay, and I say hello world, then this, whatever is inside the quotation marks, this is a string. The space here is a string. Okay? The computer recognizes it as the character that is called space. Okay? So every single character inside is a string. And it's an object because I can make this string and operate it. I can take out all the vowels. I can change those vowels for numbers. I can change the order of that string so it's considered as an object more than a variable, more than a primitive data type. Because with values, you just have the number and that's it. In this case, you have a string of characters that can be modified. Okay, so this would be a string. So I can make and I can assign to that variable that I created, name, I can assign a string. Okay, I assign a string to name. Okay? Is everybody there? Now the difference between saying system.out.println hello world, like explicit the string, I can say system.out.println and just type in the variable. Okay? And I will get, obviously, whatever is inside the string. So I can output the string after I assign the string to the variable. Do you understand the difference between saying system.out.println and just system.out.println and the variable? Okay? It's the same thing. It's going to be the same output. But in our case, I can say name is let's say Anderson Silva. You know who this guy is, right? Yeah. It's a UFC fighter. So Anderson Silva has a name. If Anderson Silva has an age, how can I create this variable? Age would be a what? An integer number, right? And you know what's cool about Java? That you can create the variable and assign it immediately on the same code line. Okay, so I create the variable and I assign the number. He is about 38 years old. Okay, so I created the variable and I assigned it immediately. So I have name, age, what else? Height. What would be height? So I would create a double and I will assign 1.88. Okay. So Anderson Silva is all this, right? And I am going to print out all that information. And all that information can be printed in one single line of code. Okay? Using
plus signs.
Very good. You read. It's good. Using plus signs. If I say name, print out the name. Okay? Plus, I want to leave a space. Okay? Plus, I just want to leave a space here. That's how you leave a space between each variable. So I want to print the name. I want to print the name, then I want to print the age. Okay? I'm going to leave another space. And I want to print the height. I will get this. Okay? Because remember that I can print out a string, but inside that string there's a space in order for the program to leave those spaces. Okay? Yeah, exactly. Those quotations would be a space. Okay? A slash are comments. Like, I'm going to comment this in a second because I don't want the program to do this part. I just want it to do this. System.hello world and then the name and then print out this. So I'm going to comment the rest of that program. It's used a lot for debugging also. When you want to know where there's an error inside a program, you comment a portion of that software in order to know if that's the thing that is not working. There are two ways of commenting. One is // and it will comment one line of code. Okay? Only this line of code. If I put //. If I use /*, it will comment from there to the end.
What about that asterisk?
Now, if I want to close this, I would change where I want to end the comments. I would use */. See? Now, all this part is as a comment. And from there, now this is not a comment. Okay? So I can comment just a portion of the code by typing /** and */ where I want to end it. Okay? Did you guys get it? Okay. Very good. Now let's try to run this program. See what happens. Okay. I'm going to click on run. Okay. And it says, "Hello world, Anderson Silva, 38, space 1.88. See? Here I have, but actually I want this name to say name first, then name, then age, print line. You have to say print line in hello world, and then in the other one, age, then, do you guys know what I'm doing? Very good. You guys try to do that. And I'm going to run it. And it should say name Anderson Silva, age 38, height 1.88. Okay? Now you do the exercise, and I want each information on a single line. Okay? Okay? That's another one. You can say print line every time. Okay? Or, I think is N. Well, you can make print lines. Okay, I'll show you how to change it on one single line code later. So remember that we were talking about different variables. We can't forget the scanner object. And what is the scanner for? What is the scanner for?
It gives you the scanner class.
Let's create a scanner object.
So that you can
Scanner
information
reader. Now, somebody tell me, why am I getting an error there?
Because you don't have the scanner class imported.
Very good. And how do you import that?
Import java.util.scanner. System in.
Import java.util.
Util.scanner.
Here we go. And I can use ** in order to get everything inside the util class. Okay? Everything inside this package will be imported. So sometimes I use just ** and I'll get everything. Okay? So now my scanner reader should be available. It's not used, but it's still available. Now the scanner reader, I would probably, how can I use the scanner reader?
To make scoring.
Reader equal what?
age plus height.
How do you start a scanner reader? You usually say scanner reader
Equals new scanner.
equals new scanner, right? And here you write system dot in, right? So I created the object, and these objects have to be instantiated. And this is when you instantiate the object. You say, okay, this new scanner is going to work, or this reader is going to work as an input. That's what I'm saying here.
Let me go up a little bit. Bit more.
After I instantiate the object, I can use it. Now I can say, okay, reader is going to be equal to what?
Age plus height.
What if I want to use the reader as to enter a name? What would I use? To enter a number, I always use next int or next double. What would I use if I want to enter the name?
Next string.
Look what I'm going to do. Print line. I'm going to say enter the name, right? And here I'm going to enter the name. What would I use? First of all, I need to assign where I have the string. So I am going to store in name reader dot. Oh, sorry. Reader dot next what? You guys read?
String.
No. Next int, next double, and next line.
Okay. Give them there.
Yeah. Page number. Wait. Page number 74. It says next int, next line, and next double. Like if you want to use strings. Yeah, but I'm gonna make the person enter the name. Okay? I'm gonna make him enter the name. Then what if I say enter your age? Now here, on the variable age, I will use the reader object. Remember that the reader is kind of like the way that the user inputs information. Reader dot next what? Int. Very good. Okay. System. Okay. Print line. I have a question in a minute. Tell me what the age, why the age is as an error. System.out.print line. Enter the height. And here I'm going to write height. Reader dot next double. Okay. Okay, those variables have a problem. And it's because I created them after I used them. See? Int age, int double, so I'm going to erase this part. Erase whatever was with Anderson Silva because I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to create them here. I can create them on the top. Okay, doubles, I'm going to create doubles. B, comma, height, like I can create them up there. And age, I create all my integers there. Like there's a part at the beginning of the program that I can create all those variables, okay? So I have int, I have doubles. After I create them here, I can use them down here. Very good.
No?
I
I'm gonna run this, and I say, hello world, enter name. Now when I enter name, I'm gonna say Julian, enter, enter age. Enter age will be 30. No way, 30. I'm still in the 30s. Enter height, 1.68 problem, and a logical problem or a logical error. Okay? Here we go. So I'm gonna create a final double. Okay? I'm gonna create a constant here. Okay? Final double. Final double, and give me a name.
Mateo.
No, it can't be a number. That's a literal. A variable. Mateo. Right? But I have to assign this double at some point. Okay? Now this is a constant. I can use Mateo at all times without worrying about overwriting it. Okay? So like tax rates. A tax rate, you need to be a constant. So there are approximately 2.2 pounds in a kilogram. That is a constant. Name and declare a constant to represent this value. Very simple. Final double, kilogram, 2.2.